Hello, everybody. Welcome to the D-Pad. I'm Rick. This is our October 2021 Patreon Hangout, where Halloween is but a mere a little under 28 hours away where we are right now. I have a costume. I didn't think I was going to get one together, but I got one waiting for me downstairs. Waiting for me is the wrong word. It's sitting downstairs, but it'll be yeah, it got cold as fuck this week. We went from last week we had some temperatures in the mid 70s, and then it just fell apart completely, and so now every day is like 50 or lower. We don't get a fall anymore. The leaves just explode and die. We don't really get our patented New England fall weather anymore, which is a bummer. So we are deep into the early stages of that winter weather, unfortunately. But I am not a socks person. When I'm at home, I'm usually just bare feet, even in the winter. But right now, I'm like thick. They're like I'm not nearly flexible enough to show you, but I'm wearing socks that I bought ages ago from an Army Navy surplus store. These are allegedly like Vietnam style swamp socks. Like, these are ones that are meant to deal with cold and moisture and still keep you dry and warm. And I am freezing still. So it's we have finally turned on the heat. We only finally turned on the heat today, which unfortunately also, along with the electricity being terrible in this apartment, the heating system leaves a bit to be desired. And so all of the dust being rapidly heated, and probably a couple of them flash burned in a matter of a couple minutes, made the entire house smell vaguely of burning material for like an hour. It's better now, but there was a point where all of a sudden out of nowhere I was just like, everything smells a little weird. I should probably see what that's all about. But yeah, that's where I'm at here. Yeah, honestly, I am too. I can put the ceiling that's right here that the lights are on. I can actually push and deform, like the whole ceiling moves when I push on it. So yeah, which is probably why it gets so cold, unless the heat's on, because there's like nothing between me and the outside world right now. There's very little. There's like a. Is it even sheetrock? I don't even think it's sheetrock. I don't know. It's like plaster, and that's about it. And that like weird unfinished popcorn ceiling style paint job. I don't know what you call that. And that's it between me and the outside world. So yeah, this ceiling is due to cave in any day now, I'm sure. But yeah, so wanted to talk about some stuff. Talk about where the D-Pad's been this past month, or what we've been up to, I guess, and what's coming for November, a little bit of what's coming for the rest of the year, I guess. So the big news, the obvious huge news, is that the Legendary Let's Play is over. We actually finally finished it off. And based on the rumblings that I've heard through the grapevine about today's Age of Calamity expansion pass, I think we're going to be passing on the expansion pass, and we will indeed be waiting until Breath of the Wild 2 comes out to take that on. And from this point forward, we will finally be only playing new Zelda games as they come out and nothing else, barring like streaming events or things like that. If there's a reason that we'd want to do, another Link's Awakening race or something like that, then like that's obviously a different story. But as far as recorded Let's Play material goes, we are done. We have finished it. I guess this is technically speaking the second time we've finished it, because we did finish it at the end of 2014, because our original stated goal was to beat all of the like main games in the series, and we did. And then we kind of played a couple things here and there until Breath of the Wild came out. And ironically, yeah, Breath of the Wild, despite being the biggest game Zelda's had since, I guess, Skyward Sword, right? despite being the biggest title there, and that was 2012. That was not part of either of the two like actual legendary Let's Play chapters. It was part of that Dawn of a New Day in between. But yeah, so at this point now, anytime there's a new Zelda game, we're going to play it, regardless of size. I'm actually slightly worried by the way that they've been handling remakes and remakes / like HD remasters, as well as how production has gone for Breath of the Wild 1 and 2. That the irony being, when we finished the Legendary Let's Play originally back in 2014, my thought was, all right, we'll come back and we'll do new Zelda games as they come out. And we got Triforce Heroes, we got Hyrule Warriors Legends, which we kind of just stuck onto the end. We did the definitive edition, which puts that together. We did Breath of the Wild. And I was kind of assuming, all right, every like year or so we'll probably get a new game. We'll play it for a couple months and that'll be it. Now I'm like, oh, we're probably going to get a lot of HD remasters that don't really warrant playing. We're not really going to get any like handheld scale games. Like Triforce Heroes might be the last original handheld style Zelda game that we get. At least for the foreseeable future. I would be genuinely surprised if we got another handheld-esque Zelda game in the next 5 years. Like, at this point, they're putting so many resources behind Breath of the Wild and its sequel that I feel like at this point, Zelda is going to start to become a bit more of a what's a good name for it? I was gonna say landmark. Landmark's not right. Tentpole game franchise, I guess, which is a pretty big deviation from where they've historically been. With the exception of the time between Link's Awakening, the original, and Ocarina of Time, they've put out a new game every year or two pretty consistently the entire time. So this is really the radius around Breath of the Wild as far as like original titles have gone. And actually, even still, Triforce Heroes was like 2015-ish, I think, right? 2015? Maybe 2016, 2015? So this is already the longest real hiatus in terms of original games. Like Link's Awakening, the remake, obviously cuts that down a little bit, but it's been 4.5 years. In March, it'll be 5 years. We're actually over 4.5 years. It'll be 5 years in March since Breath of the Wild came out, and that hasn't happened since Ocarina of Time, which came out 5 years after Link's Awakening, which is wild to think about. It's so bizarre. I don't know if it's just because like the 90s into the 2000s, we took these franchises so much for granted, but Zelda 1 was 87, Zelda 2 was 88, 89, A Link to the Past was 91, I want to say, and A Link to the Past was 91, and then Link's Awakening was 93. Ocarina didn't come out till 98. It was a full 5 years before we actually got another Zelda game, and then we started getting tons of them. We got Majora's Mask was early 2000, March 2000, something like that. The Oracle games came out, I think, in 2001. We really just like had Zelda games constantly for years up until the like mid 2010s to the late 2010s, and then all of a sudden it just stopped completely. We got Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, Skyward Sword HD, the HD remake, not remaster, of Link's Awakening. So outside of those, it went, I think, Triforce Heroes, Breath of the Wild, and then Breath of the Wild 2, which we're still waiting on 4.5 years later. So, like, I'm sure the game is going to be huge. And that's the thing, too. So, when I was a kid, I definitely played a lot of Zelda 1. I never played Zelda 2. I didn't have A Link to the Past for a very long time. I actually went to a friend's house to play it. Because he had a Super Nintendo before I did, and he had A Link to the Past way before I did. I basically spent my time, if I was in front of a TV, there's a good chance there was Zelda 1, and if I wasn't, then there was a really good chance it was Link's Awakening. So I had those two games and no real sense of, like, I was 6 when Link's Awakening came out, and I don't think I got it for a year or two. I had the original, and then I had the DX version, which was, Jesus, 96, 97. They took a little while to get that done, too. But I had both of those versions, and then I got Ocarina of Time pretty much right when it came out, and at that point I was 11. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I have to imagine it felt like forever, but I'm trying to think of, like, what was on my mind video game wise at that age. And honestly, I probably could have just played Link's Awakening for another 5 years and not really noticed. But yeah, like, this is the longest stretch of time Zelda's had. The irony being, we played Breath of the Wild, and then very quickly after, once we were done with that, we did Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, and we did this entire massive second legendary Let's Play, like, equal in size, basically, in terms of videos, at least. It took twice as long, but it was the same number of videos. We did an entire legendary Let's Play in between 2 original releases for the main franchise. Like, you could count Age of Calamity, you could count Cadence of Hyrule, but if you're talking like purist style Zelda games, we did an entire franchise play in between 2 releases. And it's not even like it was a Mega Man style situation where the series was functionally dead. Like, the Mega Man series, we didn't know it in 2010, but by the time 2015 came around, it felt pretty real that Mega Man was just dead as a franchise. Like, there weren't even rumors at that point. Like, we had heard, in fact, by that point, Mega Man Legends 3 had already been canceled, and like 3 other projects that had trailers had already been canceled. So, like, we were basically like, okay, Capcom clearly just wants to do Street Fighter and Resident Evil and does not give a shit about Mega Man at this point, which would have been very sad, and we were very happy and surprised when they announced Mega Man 11. Perfect timing. And Kirby, we'll talk about, is like right in that same spot as far as like just really perfect landing spot right as we're wrapping it up. But yeah, honestly, we'll definitely we'll be done with Kirby outside of, possibly the Forgotten Land by the time Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. All we really know right now is next year. My assumption. So it's now November, or it's about to be November 2021. We haven't seen we've seen a trailer with some really basic stuff, and that's it. We saw a teaser, and we've seen a trailer, and they're still just saying 2022. My assumption is we're not seeing this until holiday 2022. Like, it's going to be another year, and we're going to be 5.5 years between Breath of the Wild and its sequel. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, my assumption is Kirby is going to be over before that happens. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, like, my hope is it's like almost Mario Odyssey style in terms of openness and breadth and just I don't know, bigness and stuff. If it's that huge, then I don't know. But at the very least, by the time Zelda comes out, I feel like 98.7% confident that we'll be in Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and thus be on our way to wrapping up the Dreamy Let's Play. We'll probably be done with it by the time it comes out, realistically speaking. But yeah, at this point, it's so weird to think about that. Like, we are transitioned now to a point where it's like, yeah, when new Zelda games come out, we'll just play those, and it's like, cool. See you in a couple more years, I guess. Like, it's so strange. And it's honestly, it's something that I'm looking forward to as we're wrapping up more and more of these franchise plays, as we're getting to a point where it's like, okay, we can have our Zelda series and our Mega Man series and our Sonic series. They're not going to all be like running at the same time anymore, but anytime a new game comes out, we'll have that, and we'll, cover it, and we'll talk about it and all that. But, yeah, so the earliest I could even imagine would be holiday 2022. But yeah, realistically, it could be 2023. We could really be waiting for a while. It makes me very sad that Zelda is suddenly finding itself in a very it's in a very new place for that franchise, but it's not new for Nintendo. You know, you can ask any Metroid and F-Zero fans how they feel about waiting between games. You know, 1 second here. Damn it. Yeah. There's a little bug that I was trying to get rid of. Anyway, yeah, no kidding. There's definitely times where I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by the editing load. There's been some highs and lows as far as that goes. We've been having some interesting times, as we usually do near the end of the year, with like scheduling recordings and things. I have it on good authority that we will be recording more Isle of Armor this weekend at long last. That'll be good to get going again, because I think we're at the very least, I think, halfway through it. We're kind of wrapping up, at least the way that it looks like, we're wrapping up kind of the first act of Isle of Armor, and we're about to enter the second act of Isle of Armor. I don't know if we'll finish it necessarily, but it seems like that's what we're getting up excuse me, that's what we're getting up to, is kind of the next little chunk for that. It's tricky. Ben and Jeff both have kind of tricky schedules, so getting them to both be here for it has been a little bit finicky. But we're doing our best with it. Hopefully we'll be back into that. I'm really doing my best to try to get us done with Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra before Pokemon Legends comes out. It's gonna be close. We'll see. Relatedly, I am almost 100% certain that Sun is not going to be done before Diamond and Pearl's remakes come out in 4 weeks. 3 weeks. 4 weeks. 3 weeks. We have like one more episode that's been recorded. I don't think John's going to be here this weekend. He might be here next weekend, and then I'm gone for the weekend after that, and then the weekend after that is Diamond and Pearl. So assuming that there's going to be an overlap, Sun, when we have it, is just going to wind up being a weekend thing, similar to how we've handled tricky overlaps in the past. There's not like a ton left, but there's enough left that I don't think it's going to happen. Like, if he was here this weekend, there is a chance, but without that, I don't think it's happening. So that's where we're at with that. I do have my list from that to you know, of, so man, it's tough. It's tough organizing thoughts for post-game style coverage. Not even post-game style coverage of post-games sometimes, because I went online and was like, all right, I just want like a rundown of like, what's the post-game material that's there? I don't even want details. I just want to know what I can do. And I found a thing, and I went through and I jotted down some notes on all of these, and none of it said anything about the fact that Guzma was around. Nothing. So I was like, oh, okay, so we might just be missing shit altogether and not even realize it. So that's good. My list is, I would think, mostly complete, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I believe we are getting relatively close with the Ultra Beast plot, at least to the, like, in terms of missions, and I think we're at least halfway. We're at least halfway there by the end of the next episode. We also have a bunch of the Eevee side quests, which I do have locations. I didn't write down what islands anybody was on, but I do have like which trainer is at which locations. So if John is at a point where he's refusing to go talk to Kagatura? Oh, I forget his name. Kagatora, I think is his name. Plumeria is also battleable. Okay. I thought she was at, because isn't there some kind of like Kagatora, yeah. Isn't there some kind of, I might have her written down on here. Yeah, isn't she at the is she not at the battle tree? I thought that she was. I don't know. But anyway, so we'll see how that goes. You know, we'll play it by ear. Diamond and Pearl is obviously going to take priority as we get into that, but we're not going to just leave Sun in the dirt. We are going to get that one finished. It's another one to check off the list, which will be nice. Getting all these like hanging on kind of stuff would be nice. And then Diamond Pearl is getting started, and I still got a lot of like prep work to do for that. I still got to get artwork made. I got to see about like music and stuff for it. There's going to be some extra steps I got to do to get that all situated. I got to run down the rules that we've used in the past to see if we need to like make any changes, if there's stuff we have to account for. My hope is that it'll mostly be pretty straightforward in terms of like it won't have weird stuff like wild areas or anything. Like it seems like it's a pretty straightforward remake with a little extra stuff of Diamond and Pearl, maybe with a bonus chapter at the end, but that's not really, important there. We're doing the best we can with it. It's a bit of an uphill climb, but yeah, so I think that's everything Pokemon related. When Pokemon Legends comes out in January, I think, right? We're going to be doing that one very similar to how we did Breath of the Wild, I think, where we're not going to have like a specific person playing. It'll be kind of a big group thing. If the underground is like clearly delineated and marked and stuff, then that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. The wild area was like, it was so huge. And it was like, okay, to be fair, the areas did have their own like regional names, but at the same time, that just basically means, okay, you've arrived at the wild area. Here's like 50 little regions in the wild area, so you can basically get whatever Pokemon team you want. Now go, which in my opinion kind of sours, part of the purpose, in my opinion, of a Nuzlocke or like a standard Nuzlocke run is. It's not just, here's your team, they can die, but it's also, hey, you need to learn how to make these Pokemon work. You need to learn how to take a team of dudes that you may literally never consider using normally and figure out how to turn them into a functioning team. It's Bad News Bears. It's every every underdog sports team movie, basically. Yeah, honestly, the games have felt like less and less Nuzlockable based off of like just weird shit they've been pulling. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I don't know exactly how many regions the wild area has, but the fact that there are so many available before the first gym basically means that you have way more control over how your team is situated, where honestly, in my opinion, the first like 2 or 3 gyms are the most interesting because you really need to be very careful how you set your team up so that you don't just get wiped out immediately. I guess that's true. There are a lot of like high level Pokemon, but then again, it also means that there's an incentive to come back later to again restock like another 10 new dudes that are they're not too high depending on what areas you're looking, and it just kind of throws the formula out of whack. It makes it a lot more frustrating to just get stuff done. Like, not to try to rush through it, but just like so long as Nuzlocking is not an official part of these games, and it probably never will be, it's just extra work to have to try to like keep up with, which is a little bit of a point of frustration, I guess. But yeah, that I think is everything Pokemon-wise. Obviously, Insurgents remains on the back burner. We'll have to take a look at that when Diamond and Pearl or Legends is over. Preferably both, but it'll really depend how long those 2 games take. Because I think that'll be the only real like outstanding Pokemon game at that point. So there we go. But yeah, man, Let's Go sort of works as a Nuzlocke game. The problem is the game really highly incentivizes the Pokemon Go style of catch everything you see and do your absolute best to like max out just chain stuff, catch it, whatever, which like it is technically legal for a Nuzlocke so long as you don't use those Pokemon, but it feels like it goes against the spirit of it somewhat. If you're, here's the Pokemon you catch. Now, here's a bunch of things you catch to use for candy to artificially rate. Like, it just kind of throws it off a little. But yeah, it's the you can only catch the first Pokemon essentially becomes you can only use the first Pokemon you see if you catch it, which is it's close. And unfortunately, Let's Go, if you were to be extremely purist with Let's Go, and it's you can only catch the first Pokemon you see, you can't catch anything else, even if you immediately release it, would make the game so brutally difficult to get through because the trainers are no longer enough in terms of leveling, and they don't level you as well as wild encounters do, it seems. Anyway, so like you really, really have your ass against the wall if you can't fight, like if you can't catch wild Pokemon. So like it's tough. I would be interested to see someone do a Pokemon Let's Go pure Nuzlocke where they can't catch anything but the first one they see, just to see if it's possible. Like, it seems like it would be extraordinarily difficult if it's even doable at all. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I assume also that Legends is going to have some kind of DLC. There's the possibility. Oh boy, I hope they don't do this. There is the possibility that rather than have a Delta episode for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, that they release a Platinum episode as downloadable DLC, similar to the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra. I hope they don't. I hope they don't do that. I hope that it's just part of the game, like it was on the 3DS, rather than having everybody shell out more cash for it. But honestly, I don't know that I can safely believe that that's how it's going to work, I guess, is what I'm getting at there. But yeah, my assumption is that Gen 9 will probably be 2023 sounds pretty reasonable, honestly. I hope they're not planning on churning out another game next November to kick off the next generation. The only thing that I'd be like even moderately okay with is if they gave the Let's Go treatment to Gen 2. Like if they literally used the same engine, same idea, and just did that, I could see that being a 2022 release. Otherwise, it's probably going to be DLC for Legends, maybe DLC for Diamond and Pearl, and then that's it, you know. But yeah, so that is Pokemon now. I moved my notes. Where'd they go? There they are. Yeah, no, we won't be there's the possibility of a Let's Play, but we certainly wouldn't be Nuzlocking it. Like at this point, Let's Go is entirely off the table for Nuzlocke. It was just a weird pain in the ass. The rules kind of felt strange, and it got so repetitive that it really didn't seem to be necessary in the first place. So no, we're not going to Nuzlocke it, and we probably wouldn't Let's Play it either. We would maybe consider it if Legends was already over by then, if that were a thing that happened, but I don't know. Other stuff. Hindsight. Thousand Arms is not over yet. We just haven't had Felice for a little while. They've been pretty busy with stuff between work and wrestling and all of those things. So it will be continuing. Possibly this week, actually. If they are going to remake Black and White, it's going to take a couple of years. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to churn that out instantly after Gen 4. Like that could be a 2023, 2024 thing. But honestly, I think they'd want to put out another core game before another remake. If I had to guess, at least a non-Let's Go remake. But yeah, Thousand Arms is coming back. Hopefully this week. We will see how things go. I know we're gonna have CJ this weekend. Hindsight will not be over by the end of 2021. It's at this point I have made peace with the fact that my timing plans for Hindsight have entirely divorced from what I wanted it time-wise to be and how it kind of slotted into everything else. I have a backup, plan for all of it, but it's just going to be a series that kind of runs alongside stuff and is just not going to really tie into things the way that I kind of wanted it to initially, which is fine. The pandemic has really fucked a lot of shit up, and if that's the one and only like real casualty that we've got to deal with for it, then so be it. Like, whatever. Yeah, we started most of a year late, partly because we literally couldn't see each other for several months of 2020, unfortunately. And we even still I had changed my plans. So the initial version of Hindsight was going to be larger, but we also would have had another year. It's all over the place. Doesn't really matter at this point, but Thousand Arms will be coming back, and the way that it fits into everything has changed pretty dramatically, and it'll be fine. It's all good. Mega Man, we finished off Rockman 8 FC at long last. Took us a while to get there. I believe we will be continuing this week on our next series for that. We are now fully into the period of time where Mega Man 10 had come out and Mega Man 11 was but a twinkle in, Akari Kaida's eye. I don't actually remember who. I don't think it was Akari Kaida. It was somebody else who was kind of spearheading Mega Man 11. It was a ways out. I think it was the Star Force team that actually worked on Mega Man 11, which is kind of a cool, a little bit of trivia factoidness there. But we should be continuing that this weekend, and it'll be interesting to see where the Mega Let's Play post game goes from here, because we're transitioning away from a spot where there's a lot of games of just varying all over the place. There's still going to be a bunch of games here. The actual main meat of the post game is going to involve fewer games by let me pull up my list actually. Fewer games, more video essays, because we're going to have more stuff to talk about. It might not be fewer games, but certainly shorter experiences with games for the most part. I'm just kind of looking here to see which of these are actually going to be decent size. There's a few that'll be decent size, and we obviously have Project Cross Zone coming. But let me mark that thing there. I almost forgot about that. But yeah, for the most part, it's gonna take on a bit of a different shape for the rest of the Mega Let's Play post game. And that's mostly because it was such a complicated time for the franchise, for the brand, for the fan base. There's gonna be an interesting kind of shift there. It does mean that there's a lot more that I can be working on myself without needing to wait on folks on the team. And it'll make it easier to get things done alongside each other. I think it'll be pretty good. There's definitely some interesting, I already need to start planning some rather large scale stuff. There's a few things in here that are going to be pretty significant that I have to start working on soon. But that's okay. The holidays, I always right around Christmas time is a great time for me to be writing scripts and things. I don't know. I get in a very scripty sort of mood around the holidays. So and I've got, there might be 7 video essays coming as part of this. Yeah, I think there's at least 7 that'll be on their way as part of the Mega Let's Play post game, the core post game there. So yeah, it is many. That's the thing, is there's a lot of stuff that's worth talking about that doesn't involve a playable video game. So the only way to make that work is with some kind of video content essay thing. So that's how that's going to wind up going. There will be some interesting stuff there. There's actually going to be the return of one or two series that, hopefully will surprise people a little bit. But yeah, there'll be some good stuff there. And then once we're done with the core post game, there's a little bit of post game, which is like stuff that happened after Mega Man 11, and that is mighty short. That is very short. But with a bunch more video essays, so that'll be fun. And if we're very lucky, by the time we're done, Mega Man 12 will be a thing. Similarly, Mega Man Star Force 2 rather, is going along swimmingly. We have episodes going up this weekend. We have episodes already recorded for next weekend. And I'm hoping we're going to get to record some more this weekend to be further out. So as an aside, that'll like ripple into all of this. I'm going to be gone for next weekend, next Saturday is the 6th of November? The 6th of November, which is Extra Life weekend, Extra Life Day 2021. We will be doing something. I will be announcing it later, not tonight, but later, early next week. And we've got that going on, and we're usually pretty burned out, the following day. Sometimes we record a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit thin there. The weekend after, I'm literally not going to be even in the country. The weekend after that, Sarah and I are going to be at a wedding elsewhere in the country. We'll be getting back Sunday night. So we are going to be losing a lot of recording weekends back to back to back. So that is, and then the weekend after that is Thanksgiving. So it's going to be tricky. November is going to be probably going to be a bit of a thin month content-wise. We will do the best we can. I'm probably going to, if we can, depending on what we record this weekend, I'm going to try to hold on to a few things that I have a, sneaking suspicion we won't see people for a little bit, and we'll just stretch that stuff out as best we can. And we'll push on through to December where things open up a bit more. But yeah, so if the content starts to get a little bit on the thin side, that would be why. A combination of holidays and me being just gone is going to impact that. I am streaming this coming up Tuesday. We're doing Psychonauts in the Rumpus of Ruin. After that, I'm not on again until the 23rd of November. And then I'm not even on that Thursday. The Tuesday after that, the 30th of November, is when I'm actually getting back into regular Tuesday and Thursday streaming schedule. So I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks of streams starting Tuesday. So like it's going to get a little bit weird. We weren't trying to make this happen. Just a whole bunch of shit all fell on top of each other at the same time. So going to make do with that as best we can. In the world of and also for Star Force, I think we're kind of coming into the last act of the game. I wouldn't necessarily call it the last chapter, but I think we're down to like 2 or 3 like main locations left to go. So we're approaching the finale. I don't think we're like I don't think we are going to like finish the main game in our next session or anything, but my assumption would be somewhere in the next 10. So not 10 including the ones going up this weekend. We've recorded up to up to part 38. By part 48, I expect that we'll be getting to the end of the main game. Yeah, I'll be doing Kingdom Hearts Recoded for streaming starting on the 23rd. That'll be interesting. But yeah, so Star Force, I assume we'll be getting to the end of the main game in December, and then getting into the post game from there. I have heard that Star Force 2 has the worst post game of the 3 by like a pretty significant stretch. So that's going to be fun. I've already started taking some notes just to like make life less completely hellish. We will see how it goes. I've looked up what the like baseline requirements are for the title screen stars, and they look pretty straightforward. as far as like what the requirements are, it's not like there's not like some incredibly weird one that's like S rank all the EM viruses in 15 seconds or less, or some weird shit like that. Like there may be weird things that are included in the tasks that are there, but the tasks themselves are pretty straightforward. So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, we had the worst Sonic game, which took up most of the year. We had the worst Metroid game like a month ago. We had, some might say, the worst Zelda games earlier on in the year. We've got what some call the worst Kingdom Hearts game coming up. What would the worst Mega Man game be? Would it be X6, X7? Just trying to like think about. I mean, we're not even doing like main ones at this point. None of the stuff that's like coming up is going to be what I would call like a bad Mega Man game. Yeah, none of these things strike me as stuff that would be considered the worst in any way. And we've got fan games that are in there that are explicitly to like make stuff better. Mega Man DOS, yeah, that's fair. The Mega Man DOS might be up there, and it's strictly speaking an official licensed Mega Man game, which makes it even worse. I'm amazed that there isn't I'm sure people have done them. I'm amazed there's not a super popular Mega Man DOS FC, essentially. Out of the core titles, though, X7 is just tragic. Like, X6 sucked and was incredibly hard, but it's still a PlayStation Mega Man X game, and it's still, like, comprehensible and playable and stuff. It's just really, really hard. X7 is just like, wow, that is fucking bad. It just, everything about it sucked. Top to bottom, it was bad. X8 was like miles ahead of X7. In the world of Sonic, we got Sonic Rivals. We have finished Knuckles' story. The last episode we're just kind of hanging on to right now because it would have felt weird to do one and then just be done for the week. But we should be recording some more of that this weekend. We'll be getting that moving some more. We're probably only going to be in Sonic Rivals for another like 2-ish weeks. I would say it's more than likely between 10 and 12 episodes before we're done with Sonic Rivals, and then we'll be moving on. And I don't remember what actually no, I remember what comes after this. Let me double check with my notes. Yeah, okay. That should be fine. That'll be interesting. We got some neat stuff coming up there. Sonic Rivals isn't very interesting to me, but it is at least short, and I can give him props for that. So that's fine. Yeah, it's not terrible either. It feels unpolished. I owned Sonic Rivals like when it came out. Sonic Rivals and Sonic 06, just yikes. And Sonic Genesis for the GBA. Like, the three of those games came out, within a span of 3 days? Like, holy shit. That, you couldn't have a worse conceivable set of days for a franchise than 3 intensely shit, like, releases. Or rather, games that all could have been good, but the level of unpolish on them is just, it's so hard to overlook. Ugh, yikes. But yeah, Sonic Rivals, almost over. We got some good stuff coming up for those. What's the next major title we're doing for this? I think the next, like, major one is Unleashed, right? Oh, well, no, I guess Chronicles is going to be coming around before then. That's going to be a long one, I'm pretty sure. It is an RPG after all. Yeah, I bought Sonic 06 and I bought Sonic Rivals, and then I stopped buying Sonic games. I felt so burned by the entire thing. I was like, surely they can't both be bad. And holy fuck, they were really disappointing. So I didn't play Sonic games for 6 more years until we played Sonic Generations on the channel. That was the first time I'd played a Sonic game since, at least a new Sonic game, since Sonic 06, Sonic Rivals. So I've heard Rush Adventure is good. I've heard Sonic Rivals 2 is actually like many steps better than Sonic Rivals 1. Like basically the game came out, it sold reasonably well, and people were like, this is a good game, but man, does it need work? And they were like, oh, you actually like this game? Oh, okay, yeah, well, let's treat this like a real game then. And they actually put more work and stuff into it, apparently. So that's cool. But yeah, so that's where Sonic's at. Kirby, we're in Team Kirby Clash Deluxe. We got a couple more episodes we've already recorded. We're going to be recording some more this weekend. We're not to address some of the comments that have made their way in on YouTube. We're not going to be grinding Ben up so that he's constantly caught up. The most that we're going to do is like, if Ben gets, if Ben is close to being able to purchase like a better weapon, then we'll switch over to his so that he can like get some stages cleared and get that going. Or like the problem is the way you unlock new weapons is by beating ordeal bosses, and you can only beat ordeal bosses on your profile if you beat all the other stuff leading up to it. Granted, if we wind up having him do any grinding, I'm a few levels above him, and we're all levels above where we would normally be for those battles anyway. But the main focus is going to be just getting to the end. We are going to attempt to beat all of the battles at least once. And if we reach a point where it's clear that Ben is just not going to be able to keep up without like really just doing everything twice, then we're just going to keep pressing on, and we'll deal with it. I've also, in the time between, I've tried to harvest gem apples for him, as often as I can, just so that he can have some money to work with. And yeah, I didn't realize that your teammates use weapons from your cache. So I'm gonna probably at some point I gotta double check, because I know also when you beat the 4th ordeal boss, you can start upgrading your existing weapons. So I need to see where we're at by then. If there's a cheap enough one, then I'll probably wind up just buying the level 3, maybe 4 equipment for those guys so that they can actually be doing more damage. I don't necessarily care about how much damage they're taking, because revivals are actually, pretty easy, but I would like to not be the only one doing thousands of damage, thousands of hit points of damage in there. But we'll see there. And yeah, Kirby is, if we're speaking in the meta sense, Kirby is starting to wind down as well. We got Team Kirby Clash Deluxe. We got Kirby's Blowout Blast, which is probably going to be a 1-session game. That's going to probably be less than 2 hours of play altogether. Kirby Battle Royale is kind of a question mark. That one could be, it's going to be longer than Blowout Blast. It's probably going to be on the level of this in terms of however long it winds up being. And then we're back to Star Allies again. And there is an entire second mode that they added to the game as DLC. And we'll be checking that out. We've got some other things to look at there. And then we're kind of like slip sliding our way over to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We have a couple little things here and there to look at from there, but yeah. This Kirby Battle Royale, the second game mode for Star Allies, and I guess Super Kirby Clash are the only real things left to do for this. So we're getting close now. The goal obviously is to finish these in time for Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which did it get a full release date? I thought it was March or something, February. I don't have it written down right now. Or did it say spring? It might have said spring. Which means it could be more April. I thought I remembered it being March. I don't know why, but I don't have it written down, but Yep, Kirby Fighters 2 is Smash Ultimate. Smash Ultimate is gonna be a pretty breezy run through at that point. It's more or less gonna be stuff that we didn't look at when we showed up to do World of Light. And the thing with Smash Ultimate is that there's not a huge amount of other stuff going on. Like, we'll look at classic mode, but we're not gonna clear classic mode. We're gonna do classic mode like once as we do other stuff. So yeah, there's not a ton left at this point. So Kirby is definitely going to be the next series that we complete. Yeah. Oh, Discovery. That one's kind of interesting. It doesn't work super great as a title, in not like it's bad, but it's a little abstract, I guess. I feel like in English we try to go for more concrete titles for things. And like Kirby Discovery is like okay, but I don't know. It sounds more like a Mario title, I guess. I don't know. Which, granted, if this is basically Kirby's Odyssey, then I'm 100% for it. Let's see. We talked about Kirby. We talked about Pokemon. Oh, Resident Evil. I believe, according to the boss, for Let's Play Dead, we will be moving on from Resident Evil Village, the Mercenaries. We're just leaving it where it is, rather than continuing to grind against it, because the difficulty spike is spiking really, really fucking hard. And we will, I believe, be moving on to the Dark Side Chronicles. Excuse me, my voice is getting all raspy. But yeah, so we're moving on from the game where we're shooting everybody to get a high score to another game where we're shooting everybody for a high score. I think the last game was also us shooting everybody for a high score, so great. And then after that, I believe we're moving on to Resident Evil 4 and actually continuing on from there. So yeah. But yeah, Dark Side Chronicles should be starting Monday. CJ is going to be here this weekend, so hopefully we'll be able to get that moving. Other Twitch stuff, I don't really have a whole lot to say on these. Dave is doing his Spooktember scary games. I'm going to be gone for most of November. Our next Hangout is going to be the day after Thanksgiving, at which point I will have literally done one recoded stream, and that's it. So Jeff is doing his Platinum Nuzlocke. Not a lot else to say about that, I guess. I'll be very curious to see how the rest of Jeff's run goes, because he's been taking some unfortunate casualties here and there, which that's the name of the game. That's how it goes. But Resident Evil ending in 2022, maybe. I feel like if I had to guess right now, my guess would be summer 2023 would be when Resident Evil is done. And that's just because, like, CJ is usually pretty solid about, like, being here with, real frequency. But we got a decent number of games left to go. And it wouldn't surprise me if it does stretch out into... Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I think it's more like summer 2023, if I had to guess. And CJ may decide he wants to do more or less, side games than what he's thinking... than what his thinking was originally. So if he changes his mind, that could change things. But with the way things look right now, I'm expecting it to be more like a year 9 than a year 2. Final Fantasy VII. Last week, Ben was here and we were like, let's do some Final Fantasy VII. And I couldn't find... like a power cord for the fucking thing. He wound up actually not feeling well, so we left. But like, I was trying to find a power cord thing because it uses a micro SD, and I plugged it into, like, I have a bunch of micro USB, and I've got a bunch of micro USB to USB cables. I was plugging them into like wall outlet things and all of that, and it was just like, nah, don't want to work. So I don't know. I'm still messing with that. I'm gonna be messing with it more tonight. But I don't know. That's hopefully we'll be able to get it working. Hopefully we'll have episodes coming back this coming week. Be very nice. I was very bummed because I was like, yeah, let's get it moving again, and we literally sat down to do it, and it didn't turn on. So that's my homework for tonight, I guess. Let's see. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. We got more episodes coming up this weekend. We got more coming up the next couple weeks. And then it's done. We did finish it. And then it's going to be a couple, I guess a week and change off until Recoded gets started. And then we're basically doing that the same way we did 3, 5, 8 days over 2, where I'm going to be streaming the game. And then once the game is over, we as a group are going to watch the kind of cinematic version of it that is included in the 1.5, 2.5. I don't even know how to refer to these anymore, because there's 1.5 HD Remix, which was a thing on its own, 3 games. Then there was 2.5 HD Remix, and that was a thing on its own with 3 games. And then they put them together as Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 HD Remix. And it had the 6 things in there. I say games, but like 6 things that are in there. And then they released Kingdom Hearts 2.8, which I think was like HD Prologue Chapter or whatever. And then now there's the disc we're doing this off of. The thing that we have is called Kingdom Hearts The Story So Far, which has Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 HD Remix and Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Prologue Chapter HD whatever fucking mix. We will watch the HD Remix Final Mix version of Recoded, and we'll do it the same as we did 3, 5, 8 days over 2. And then we've got a couple more steps to go before we get to Kingdom Hearts 3, but we are on our way again. Kingdom Hearts, I would assume to be a 2023 thing. If that's the thing, is like, we do have, a few more things to go there. Where did I put my list? I had my list for that also. I guess we only really have one more full-size game before Kingdom Hearts 3. So maybe it might be 2023 seems safer based off of that. I thought there were 2 like full-size ones before 3, but hilarious. How did they fuck that up? How did they get the theater mode wrong? Unbelievable. Yeah, it's really weird that, like, I was expecting these to, like, the original, I wouldn't even say conceit, the original hope, I guess, was that they were all going to kind of end, kind of in a light little sequence and all of that, and instead it's like 2 of them are ending basically on top of each other. Zelda, and I guess Kirby's going to continue into next year, so if it wasn't for Forgotten Land, Zelda and Kirby ending pretty quickly back to back. And then another year and change, and then all of a sudden, like, everything but Sonic is all going to end together. Mega Man is also probably going to be a 2023 thing. Just because, actually, probably end of 2022, start of 2023 would be my guess, just off of, like, the games we have left, but also, like, video essays need time to come together and stuff like that. So if there's any kind of... delays or whatever, then yeah. But interesting. So yeah, I'll have to look up a viewing order. I might do that sooner rather than later, just so that if I see anything, I'll have time to forget about it before that comes around, I guess. But yeah, so there's that. I saw there was a thing about 2021 for whatever reason was just like really not good on Mega Man. I don't know why. It just kind of scheduling just got really difficult. I think when when COVID kind of spiked again in the winter and then again in the summer, it kind of spooked us a little bit. And it's a series that we were trying to have rely on specific people, and then ultimately was like, let's just finish this. Let's just go. I'm trying to not have as many things rely on specific folks being here, so that if there are days where they can't, it's not just like, well, I guess we're holding this off again. But I don't know. We'll see. I saw a question about the MCU. Yes, I still have to do my review for the last episode of What If. I didn't intend for it to be delayed by this much. It's not even like delayed for a reason. I just haven't had time. I've had I've had editing. I've had freelance work that's actually been taking up a good amount of my time, as well as job hunting on top of that. So it's been a little bit crazy time-wise. And yeah, so that'll be coming out this coming week. I'm expecting to have one for Eternals as well. And then, thankfully, I'll be back from all of my trips in time for when Hawkeye comes out. So that'll be convenient timing. I'll be very happy with that. Yeah, later this coming week, you can expect the last What If review to happen, followed quickly by Eternals. Assuming we see it on Thursday. That's the plan, is to see it Thursday. I wasn't going to stream on Thursday anyway, just because I didn't want to be tired and sleep deprived going into the Extra Life weekend. I'm probably going to spend most of Friday sleeping. So yeah. So we'll see how all of that goes. But yeah, basically the weeks from November 8th through the 26th are probably, those 3 weeks are probably going to be pretty light on content. This week was also kind of light on content. We didn't have, I'm trying to remember if anybody was actually, Ben was here this weekend. I guess also John was here for a little bit. But yeah, so we'll hopefully have some more stuff this coming week. We'll hopefully be able to stretch it out over the 3 weeks. Benefit here is that we actually know it's coming, as opposed to when COVID started and it was like, oh boy, I get to stretch out like a week and a half's worth of material for like a month and change. This will be fun. But I think that's it. I think that's all that I have to talk about. We do have some fun stuff coming up. Even starting as soon as next week, there's some fun stuff that's going to be coming up. I'm working on planning out some holiday specials. Already starting work on them now, so that I can just do them, have them done, and then have them be like ready to go in time for Christmas, like a month and a half ahead of time if I can. Let's see. Yeah, I'll leave that for now. Sonic TV show Deep End Chills are going to be entirely reliant on when John's around, I think. Just because that I am trying to keep as consistent as I can, as far as who's involved for it. So that one is probably going to be still on the slower side as we kind of ramp back into that. I don't put it on the schedule at all, just because I don't assume that we're going to have it at any specific point. It'll be kind of a nice bonus when it comes back. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is... I think that's it. I think that is everything. I got some interesting stuff in mind for Christmas this year. So I've got some homework to do. I've got some things to write, some things to shoot, and I'm hoping that everybody likes what we come up with. I'm not going to stress about trying to actually get 12 things for Christmas. I'm aiming for it, but whatever we get, and we'll go from there. So I think that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for hanging out. If anyone watching this after the fact would like to join in on one of these live, the next one will be November 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, a Friday, as usually the last Friday of the month. December might be a little different. We'll see. But you can get to patreon.com/dpadfm in order to see how to jump in on one of these live, among other things that you can do. Thank you guys very, very much. I'm going to head on out. Have a good one. Bye.